Hi everybody. So today we have a guest on the show. His name is Elijah Lekol, and this particular person is very important to me because when I came into North America and I started the journey of trying to understand how money works, how wealth works in the US and in Canada, he was the person who introduced me to all the details, the nitty-gritties. I had worked as a financial advisor in South Africa and in London, but like you know, things work differently in different places. So today I have the pleasure of having him. Let him give you the details, but he's somebody that is, he's really authentic. He's down to earth. He gives you advice without airs. So anybody is comfortable working with him, whether you're a millionaire and you have $1 million to invest, or you're just a struggling family who wants to ensure they protect their family. I promise you have all your bases covered with Elijah. I hope you enjoy today's episode. The topic is how to build a comprehensive financial plan. Welcome, Elijah.
Thank you so much.
So the first thing I've been itching to ask you has to do with your journey to become a financial educator. I happen to know that this is not how you started your professional journey. So my question is, how did you get here? How did you get into this field and become so good at what you do?
Well, thank you so much. A pleasure being with you today. And I hope the information I share with everyone today can be able to change somebody's life like it did mine. I came to this country in 1999, and I was looking for opportunities. And you know, as normally the way you start is to start looking for a job because your degree is not recognized here. So you have to start going back to school again. And I went back to school. I went into, I did paralegal. And I also finished my paralegal. I went into international business administration. And also went and did my master's in logistics and supply chain management, all in the name of looking for a greener pasture. So that took me into different fields. I went into different sales with different selling companies. Some of them I'm not going to mention their name, but I went into about 5 different types. And eventually they didn't work out for me. But eventually I met a lady one day somewhere at a grocery store who invited me to just come and take a look at an opportunity. So, I mean, my mind was, is doing the same thing that I was doing before. So I did not go. So the second day I went there, and what I saw was very interesting. It has to do with financial education. And since I always have the passion to help people, I thought it was something that was going to be really, comfortable, and what I saw was very, very interesting. So I started just like everybody else that attend the free financial education workshop. And I was also in the day trading business, buying stocks and sell and all that.
How did that go?
It didn't go very well because I didn't have the detailed information. So I always say that I wish I knew what I know now before I started that online trading. So this event that I went to gave me a full detailed information and explanation about how the financial industry works. And sometimes the thing that I thought I was doing right, I realized that I wasn't doing the right thing. And that was how I ended up today being full-time with this company, inviting people to the same opportunity that helped me understand the integrities in the financial industry.
Okay, the reason I ask this is because, like I said, I was a financial advisor when I worked in Nigeria, and I represented companies in London and South Africa. And one of the things I found to be very, to be different with the approach you had with me when I started asking questions about wealth and how money works was the fact that you addressed every area of need, financial need. You took into perspective issues about protection, about children. It was like wholesome. You know, you didn't leave anything at all out. And I say this because the average person, when they make money, would think, oh, I'm going to invest so I can have money, and which is great. I mean, they're even thinking of saving. But this wholesomeness of advice, right? That is what really got my attention, and I'm hoping our audience today can get something out of it. But I'm going to just go full speed ahead. The next question I want to ask is this. When it comes to, from your experience now, you've been doing this for about 7 years, I think you said, right?
Yes, about 6 years, 6 years now.
6 years, okay, good. So when it comes from the experiences you've had, what are the key areas or the main areas where people miss it when they set out to make financial plans that will give them peace of mind in the future? I know you can't cover everything today because this is just a 30-minute show, but what key areas would you say you've seen the most common errors with regards to financial planning?
The most common areas with my experience so far is when we talk about building a financial house, a complete financial house. Let's just take a look at the literal building, the literal building that we have, the structure that we live in today. Every house, every strong structure, every strong house has a foundation. And the foundation, what does that foundation do? It protects the house from storm, from erosion, so the stronger the foundation is, the stronger that house will stand. And when it comes to that foundation in the financial industry, I always make sure that there should be protection. Protecting your life in case of uncertain death, protecting your source of income, which is your business and yourself. Because in most cases, we are the only source of income to our family. So we have to make sure that, God, if anything happened to me, in case I become sick, in case I become disabled. So I make sure that I have that protection, that God forbid if any of those things happen, this financial house that I'm building now should not crumble because the foundation is already there, is strong. So now the next thing that I would put on that foundation is debt management, to get out of debt. Because if you are in debt, it'll be difficult for you to build your own house. If you are building somebody else's house, there's a saying that it's difficult to serve two masters, right? So if I'm in debt and I'm servicing my debt for somebody, how can I be able to build my own financial house? So I will do as fast as I can to get out of debt. Because when I'm out of debt now, I am free to be able to build my house. And when I'm out of debt, my focus is different than somebody who is in debt. So we have this workshop that teach about getting out of debt. Because me, as a Christian, my Bible says you become a slave to whoever you're indebted to. So I don't want to be a slave to somebody. I can go to build my financial house. And then the next thing is have an emergency fund. Because nobody can predict tomorrow. It's something that is called the rainy day. In case it rains tomorrow and I cannot go out to make money, I should make sure that I have some reserve of about 3 to 6 months that can take care of me, because statistics has proved that when somebody loses a job or source of income, it takes about 3 or 6 months before they can go to get to that same level. So I have to make sure that I have that emergency fund, and my emergency fund should not be my credit card, because if I do that, I'm going back into that same debt. Instead of building my house upward, it's crumbling down now. And then an investment. That is how I can build my house stronger and have a perfect structure. Investment now become the roof of it. Because God forbid, anything happen to that investment, I have protection. If there is an emergency, and that emergency can be either disability, I can become sick, and I cannot go out there to make money, the same protection that I have put in place should now be the source of my income. And with that, everything, that structure in place, that concept very solid, I can have a strong financial house.
Makes sense. But you see, it's funny when you say this, because from my experience, and I think the average person, when you think of financial security, your first instinct is investment. Or maybe for some people it's savings first. I need to put some money aside. But investment is at the top of the tier. That is what everybody's thinking about. Like, I need to invest so when I have a need, I have that. So it's funny that you've kind of turned it the other way, and investment is kind of the last thing that should happen. But it's good to know. And when you shared this with me personally, it made common sense to me, because if I have an investment, generally, I think anyway, can be risky. And also, even if I had an investment, there are no guarantees. It doesn't provide the same kind of guarantees that protection provides. So I may still have investment and still leave my family out unprotected if I'm the breadwinner and something happens. So even though it was hard for me to digest and say, oh, that makes sense, because I've always been this business-minded person who thought, oh, well, as in fact, a financial advisor, what I was saying was investment plans. Like, if you need to do this, invest in this, and you go to that level. So this was a whole new idea, and I know how big protection is in this country. And that brings me to my next question. You see, one of the things back home when I was in Nigeria, one of the things I used to say to people when I try to sell them financial products and they are kind of reluctant, I say to them, I say, in developed worlds like America, almost everybody is insured. They protect themselves because of this, because of that. Imagine my surprise when I got here and I looked at the statistics and I realized that less than, maybe about 40% of Americans have insurance, and not even proper protection. Some of them is just maybe death and dismemberment, different levels. But it was a shock to me when I saw that, well, not all Americans are doing this, even though I thought it was like more widespread. But what I realized, and one of the reasons why I started my business, Immigrantsthrive, is that the majority of the population, the 50-something% that have no insurance, are actually either the very low income class or immigrants. And these immigrants, I'm not speaking of immigrants who are struggling, I'm talking of professional immigrants. They are doing well in their career because, I don't know if you've heard about this, but statistics shows that some of the most educated people in America today are Nigerian immigrants. So these are not people who are struggling, or because most of them are in professional careers, but they don't do a lot of protection services. They are into investments and all that. Okay, from your experience, I would like you to tell me, why do you think many people in the immigrant community are not so particular about building such financial plans? What have you seen have been the roadblocks they faced that that has caused them to a smaller population of the immigrant community to take part in financial planning and complete financial wellness?
Well, that is a very good thing to observe, because when I started, the problem that I came across was superstition. Most of us grew up from a place where they believe that if I buy insurance, it means I'm getting ready to die.
That reminds me, sorry for interrupting. When you said you're a Christian and the Bible says something about death being, I just remember, because I know most of my Christian clients in Nigeria used to say to me, well, I believe I'm going to live long. My children would not have to, they just have faith. They just believe it's not going to happen to them. And so that was just an aside, but please continue. But I know how fervent they can be in their beliefs.
Yeah, one of my favorite preacher back home in Nigeria, he was preaching, and he says that, we Christians, we are expecting the return of Christ, right? And he said that when he make his plan, he plans as if Christ is not coming, which means he makes sure that every I is dotted, every T is crossed, and then he book his calendar even to 2-3 years ahead. Mm-hmm. But when he lives his life, he lives his life as if Christ is coming the next day. Mm-hmm. So when we say, oh, God is going to protect me, God is going to, even in the Bible, God said, behold, I set before you life and death, and I wish that you choose life. So God gave us a choice to make plans. He said, plan in the morning, plan in the evening, plan in the night. So we have to make sure that we plan. These things are planned. It's not that he's not going to provide for us, but we have to do our own part. So the the perception of, oh, if I buy insurance, it means I'm going to die. Oh, God is going to take care of me. I'm going to live long. You know, that was in those years, in the early years of the 1960s, when there was only this type of insurance called the term insurance. The term insurance, when you buy a term insurance, you buy it for 10, 20, or 30 years term. It means that after that 30 years period, your life, if you live beyond that 30 years, your insurance is over. And if you pass away at that time, nobody get any money. The only person that benefit from that policy is the insurance company. Because all the money you've been paying over the 30 years, they keep it. You don't get anything. Now you're trying to renew it now because you are age, you are older now, the premium is so high. But now we have different types of life insurance. We have the term life, the whole life, the variable, the universal, the index life. Some of these policies give you that complete financial house that I was talking about. Because I can be alive, and if I become disabled, my insurance provide me that income, which means I'm protecting not only my life if I pass away, but I'm also protecting my source of income. Because if something happened to me and I cannot go to work, money comes from there. Now, in case I live long and I keep putting money into this policy, it also becomes an investment for me. Because the cash value that grows in that policy, tomorrow I retire, I can start using that cash value as a better retirement income. That is my investment I was putting in. What is an investment? It's like a farmer planting something to harvest in the future. We're talking about that. If I have that cash value building up in those policy, and let's say 10 years from now, if I'm owing some money on my house, I probably have accommodated a lot of money that I can take that money and pay off the house or pay off whatever debt that I have. The money that grows also in that policy, when my child reaches the age of education, if I have $300,000 or $800,000 or $200,000 in there, I don't need to worry about where am I going to get money for my child education. So you see that this whole thing is very comprehensive. That is not going to be the only financial plan that you have, but that protection from that insurance is a strong one. And then you can diversify and put money in either other retirement plan, because that is how you can be able to get yourself secure. Now, we find out that the people that have the most amount of insurance in this country are people that we thought don't need insurance. Those we thought that they are self-insured. Guess what happened? Because of the tax value, the tax privilege that come with every insurance, with that kind of insurance, any money that they grow in that insurance is tax-free in the future. So guess where they're putting their money? They're putting their money in the vehicle that give them that tax privilege in the future when they need that money the most.
Awesome, Elijah. I think we need to bring you back on to throw some more light on the issues of insurance, because insurance is such a vast topic and we have barely 25 minutes on this show. And I got a couple of questions sent in from our Facebook community, and I didn't want to be selfish and read out only my questions. So I'm going to throw a couple of questions from the audience for you. Okay? The first question. Okay, so this person wants to know, the question has to do with, can you expound more on the 401k plan and other such plans that are rampant these days?
Okay, we have, the 401k, unfortunately, is the only retirement plan that most people know. And some people go with the 401k simply because their company, most companies force it on them to have the 401k. 401k is a tax advance, tax later retirement vehicle. So 401k is, you are putting your money, and if you look at your check when you get your money, they always say the tax is a pre-tax. So they take the money before they even tax you, which means the money that they are taking out of that your check and put into your 401k account is not taxed now.
So your employer takes the money before taxes?
Before taxes.
Okay.
And now they put that money to grow for you. And then when you are not allowed to touch that money until you are 59 and they have. If you do, you pay penalties plus the tax on whatever money that you collect. But now, when you reach 59 and a half, unfortunately, some people don't know that that money, whatever you grow in there, is still going to be taxed, because you're going to pay tax on that money, because that money, that tax is what the government need. And the government has also put a condition on that money, that when you reach 72 years old and you say, oh, I have some other income, I don't need to touch my 401k right now. No, the government wants you to start taking that money so that they can start collecting their tax. So at that time, they will send you a letter. You are 70 years old. Probably you don't look at almost all your mails, right? They send you that letter and you drop it somewhere, you didn't read it. But in that letter is saying that if you don't take this money out in the next 6 months, the ROS will go in there and cut whatever you have into half and take it.
Sorry, hold on. Are you saying IRS will take more than the required taxes, the legal taxes, because you're not spending your money?
Because you're not taking your money, because when you take your money there, when they get their tax. These are information that are on the ros.gov. It's right there.
Yeah, but there's so much information there. How many people actually read through all those?
Yeah, exactly. You know, they say that if you want to hide some information, put it in a book, right? So most people don't go there and read. Some people don't go there and look at it. And one right thing about the 401k is that your 401k is tied to the stock market. So when the market goes down, you're losing money. Not only that, your 401k, you are paying fee to whoever is managing that 401k for you, either Fidelity or Vanguard or whatever company, because they are in business to make money.
Well, this is a huge topic all by itself. But I need to clarify a point, right? From what you have said already about 401k. I imagine the person asking the question would want to know this. First of all, when it comes to taxes at the end, let's say you're taking out money, are you taxed based on the full value of your investment or based on only the growth on the amount you invested?
It's going to be on everything. It's going to be on everything that you have in that 401k account.
Makes sense, because you were not taxed before. So everything
you were not taxed before. And in this country, wherever you invest money, if it's not in the tax-free vehicle, you also pay tax on your gain. So at that time, you're going to be paying tax based on your tax bracket at that time. And this is what most people don't know.
Okay, my second question will be this. Based on what you've said, what advice would you have for people who have been growing their 401k? Because I know people who do this dedicatedly, and that is their assurance for retirement. And I promise you, they are not counting on the fact that 25 to 35% of this amount will be taken off by Uncle Sam. Okay, so what advice do you have for people who, just in a nutshell? I know this is not like a full session, education session. So I know this is not a full educational session, so you may not be able to give us details. But for people who are already locked in, are they tied? There is no option. Is there like you're tied? This is the implication of all this period of investment, or there are options for them that are more lucrative and will be more profitable for them?
Yeah, some companies make it mandatory that if you are working there, you have to have a 401k account. And I always suggest to my client that if the company is matching, hey, open it and get that extra money that they are giving you, because it's the money that they are giving you for free. But if the company is not matching and you want to set up a 401k account, don't overfund it, because some people overfund it not knowing the tax implication and all these that come with it later. Take that money that you would have put it into that 401k and put it into another vehicle that can give you a tax-free return in the future, because there are several vehicles out there that can give you that tax-free money. Because the reason why it is tax-free is you pay your amount of tax right now when it's lower, because tax is going to go up in the future. This is what we need to know, because as long as the government is expanding and all these unemployment benefit, government is going to at some point have to get this money back, and tax is going to always increase. So you put that money in the vehicle that can give you that tax advantage in the future when you need that money the most. So keep your 401k. But if you are working with a company and you don't work there anymore, and that 401k is still there, run to go get that money from there and put it into a private IRA of account for you. Because even as that money is still there, when you were working for that company, they were subsidizing the fee for you. But now you don't work there anymore. The entire fee is
You
not
bear the full fee. But what if you're not 59 and a half years yet, and the government and the rules, prescribe you from going ahead and withdrawing your money? What happens in that instance? Do you have to wait until you are the right age according to the rules?
No, that money, if you're not working with that company anymore, that money, you're not going to use it. If you want to use it, you're going to pay the tax on it. So the best way you do is we do what we call the rollover. You roll over that money into a private IRA account, which means you're still going to pay tax on that money, but you save yourself the fees that they were collecting from that money and the fluctuation of the market that was affecting the growth. So those are the two things that you save yourself.
So in essence, a rollover is not considered to be usage of the money. Doesn't mean you've gotten access to it, correct?
You put that money in a saver vehicle that is not tied to the market and save you the fees that you are paying every month, even when you are losing money. Because the companies that manage it don't care even whether you lose money or not. They always collect their fees because they are in business for money too.
Awesome. Thank you for that detailed answer. That was very educative. I think our time would probably allow for a couple more questions. And the question I have to ask now is, what would you say to someone who has been working hard, probably investing, doing the best they know, but they cannot be considered financially literate because they've never put in any effort to learn how money works, how the system works, and how to make the best of the system? Where do you think they can start from? I'll give you an example. I'm 50. I've been working as a nursing assistant for 25 years, and I have maybe 15 more years to work. Where do I start from? There seems to be so much involved in this. What would be your precise advice for somebody in my situation?
Well, we are here to help. Here we come. The help is here because first of all, we are on what we call a financial literacy campaign. And first of all, we want you to be educated because we know that when you are well informed, then you make an informed decision. So we want you to get that free education. It's free, completely free. We offer these workshops every single day. You don't have to go to anywhere or sit down with somewhere in this coronavirus situation. From the comfort of your home, you can log into a Zoom and watch these education workshops for free. Know your options. It doesn't matter even though you have a financial advisor or not. Because even though you have a financial advisor and you are knowledgeable, you cannot tell your financial advisor this is what should be, not what they decide. Because who have your best interest at heart? Not them, but you. Because they are in business to make money.
That is something I always say to my clients, my coaching clients. I say, you are your own best financial advisor. You need to know the rules. No, financial advisors are mostly there to sell you certain products. But if you are armed with knowledge, then once you can have the capability to advise yourself, then you're on a good footing to make decisions from the alternatives that are given to you.
Absolutely. So when you get this knowledge, even no matter how close you are to retirement, we can be able to work with you based on your level, whatever that you can work, because only thing that we require is consistency and discipline. If you have that discipline, we can show you in the next 15 years, if you put so and so thing aside into certain vehicle that give you certain percentage of growth, you can be able to achieve something better than having nothing right now. So we can work with anybody, but what we always make sure that we do first is to get this person financially educated, put them in the workshops, sit down with somebody who can do what we call a personal financial strategy. Personal financial strategy is you knowing what is coming in and what is going out. Because if until you know that, you will always spend and don't know what is going out, and you end up losing or having nothing left after you, because you've been spending. If I have a bucket that I want to fill with water, and I don't realize that there's a hole at the bottom, and I keep pouring water in there, it can be hardly filled up. So the financial education and the personal financial strategy is like a financial diagnosis that lets you know, this is how much is coming, this is how much I spend on this, because sometimes we end up spending money on even things that we don't even realize that we are spending money on. So these are the recommendations I will give to anybody. Sit down, come to the workshop, sit down with somebody who will give you that financial diagnosis. Look at what you have and tell you, this is the plans. Which one is suitable and affordable? Those two things should be the key thing to always remember: suitability and affordability. Because I can design a whole good plan for you, but what if it's not affordable, right? And if I design a plan that is affordable, what if it's not the right plan for you? So financial education is good. Know your options, and then when you know your options, we show you the decisions and what to do. And within time, if you stay disciplined and consistent, you find yourself there.
Awesome. Thank you, Lekol. That was a lot of education. I can assure you that for some people, many years in school, in college, in fact, did not teach them any of these important life lessons. The final question I have for you, though, is, can you guarantee me that if people call you today and seek to know more about this and get some education, that session is going to be free?
Absolutely.
There's going to be no coaching fee.
Absolutely. We don't charge any fee. And one thing that we also make sure that we do is, in comparison to other financial institutions out there, if you want to roll over your 401k from your previous job into a private IRA, you go to the bank, they charge you fee. We don't charge our client the fees. How do we make money? We represent over 250 companies here in US and Canada. We are the bridge between you and these companies. We educate you on their product, what services that they have. Whatever service or product that you choose, we recommend the company to you. When you start with your services with them, they pay us to make it easier and cheaper for our clients to have some plan in place. So we don't charge our client the fees. It's the company that pay us.
Awesome. I just wanted to get that out of the way so that what I'll do is I'll leave a link to your website for people on this video at the end, just so people can reach you, to schedule these sessions. Because I think one of the things this COVID-19, this monstrous pandemic has taught us is the fact that you cannot continue doing the same things you've been doing and expect different results. And the things a lot of people have been doing is not working, because I can assure you that 1 month into the pandemic, people were stranded. If they had known that for you to have a healthy financial life, you need to keep 3 to 6 months of your cost of living, that could have been very handy. And this pandemic was unprecedented, never happened before. There has never been such a global lockdown at this level, not even during the Spanish flu. The whole world literally shut down and there has been chaos. So I know this is really important. We'll leave a link so people can access it and see exactly and see exactly what you have to offer when they book meetings with you. Yeah. So thank you very much, Elijah. We really appreciate having you here. And I'm certain our audience has been fully educated and they've learned a thing or two from the time spent with you. And to our audience, I'm sure you learned something today. And like I always say, what you learn is not as important as what you do with what you learn. Don't become a collection center. Whatever you've collected, make sure you can apply it. So, decide and determine to do something today about what you just learned. Thank you all and have a good one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Lekol.